Welcome to Lesson 2 of Green Filing's video training series for e-filing in the California courts. In Lesson 1, you learned how to configure your account with users and a payment account. With that in place, we can now move forward with e-filing. In this video, we will provide a simple demonstration of filing or starting a brand new case. In doing so, we'll also talk about how you may electronically serve your documents on parties and/or attorneys, in the case through the use of service contacts. And finally, once your new case filing is submitted, we'll review the email notifications that are generated and how you can keep tabs on the status of your filing. So let's go ahead and demonstrate how to file a new case. So we're on the dashboard. The easiest way to start the new case filing process is to click on the File a New Case button. You can also click on File a New Case tab on the left-hand side if you prefer. I'll click the button, and we're going to land on our new case filing screen. There's a number of steps on the screen. We just need to work through each step to complete the information the court needs in order to submit the filing. So in step 1, we're going to select the court. This is a list of all the courts currently allowing electronic filing. You can start typing a court name, and that'll filter the list down. So I've started to type Santa, so now I'm only seeing courts with the name, with the keyword Santa in it. So I'm going to choose the Santa Barbara Anacapa Court. And then the next step is going to be to choose our case type. So again, we can filter this down. If I just want to see all the civil case types, I can type the word civil, and now I just see all the civil case types in Santa Barbara Court. So I'll just select the Other Complaint Civil Unlimited case type. And then we'll move on to step 3, which is where we're going to identify the documents we're going to file and upload them to the case. So the first step is to select a document type. Typically going to be filing a complaint and a civil cover sheet. So I'm going to start with my complaint. So I'll select the document type of complaint. That will default in the document description field. You can expand upon that if you'd like. This is editable. We'll just leave it as complaint for this example. Then I'm going to browse out to my computer and select my complaint file. Now here you can upload either a PDF document, a document you've already converted to PDF, or if you have a Word document or WordPerfect document, you can simply upload that and we'll convert it to PDF for you. So I'm going to select my Word document here, select Open, and then click Add and Upload. Now you'll notice once that's uploaded, we're going to see a line here just showing I have a complaint, and then you'll see here a link to the file that I had uploaded, which was originally a .docx or a Word document, and now you can see we've converted that to a PDF document. If you'd like to click this link and review that document, you can do that. So it'll just open the document in a new tab and show you the PDF document. You can make sure that the formatting looks good and everything like that. We'll close that tab, and then we'll go ahead and upload our civil cover sheet. So I'm going to select the document type of civil cover sheet. I'll leave the document description the same as well. And then we'll go ahead and select that civil cover sheet, click Add and Upload. So you can see here that you can upload as many documents as you need to in order to submit your filing. So we still have an opportunity here to upload more if we'd like. If we're done, we can just click on Done Adding Documents, and we'll see just our complaint and civil cover sheet listed here. So with that, we'll go ahead and move on to step 4. In step 4, you need to identify first the security of each document. So you're going to get options of confidential, public, or sealed. In this example, we'll just do public for both. And then also in step 4, you have the opportunity to select optional services. Optional services are things like advanced jury fee, first paper filed fee, things like that. In most courts, you'll notice that filing fees are associated directly with the document type you selected in step 3. But in California, they've chosen to implement many of the filing fees that you may need to choose in the optional services tab. So it's always a good idea to review the optional services and select any of them if they're needed. In this case, I'll assume that I'm filing my complaint and requesting a jury. So I'm going to go ahead and select this advanced jury fee, and then I'll just type a 1 in terms of quantity right next to that. For the civil cover sheet, I'll just leave that as none. And then we're going to move on to our next step, which is to identify the parties in the case. Since we've selected a civil case, this comes up and indicates that it's going to require that you add a plaintiff and defendant. So we've given you an opportunity here with two sections to add first a plaintiff and then second a defendant. You can enter an individual or a business. If I switch this to business, then you'll notice this will change the company name. If I make it individual, it'll be an individual. So for this example, I'll do a business. Just making up a name. And then you have the opportunity to select the representing attorney. So since I am filing new case complaints, I'll select myself as the representing attorney. Then you can put in an address for the business. And then you have the option to save this party to your address book if you'd like, so that you can easily select them the next time you file. That might be useful if you're filing quite frequently, maybe debt collection or eviction or unlawful detainer type cases where you commonly have the same plaintiff. So we'll move to the next step where we can enter an individual. And I'll just enter a last name of Doe, first name of Jane. You have an opportunity to select your representing attorney, but since this is a defendant, you most likely don't know who that is. And then you can enter an address. If you don't know an address, you do have an option here to check address unknown, and that'll just remove those fields. So for this example, we'll go ahead and stick with that. Section 6 is a section that is actually not used in California, so we just default that to not applicable, and you can move on to the next step. The next step is where you're going to identify the parties you are filing on behalf of. So since we're filing a new complaint, we'll go ahead and select the plaintiff. And we'll move on to Section 8. This is where you have the opportunity to identify service contacts to receive a copy of this filing via email once you submit it. So it's an electronic notification or electronic service of this filing once you've submitted it. A very important note here is that on a new case filing, this does not replace service of process. It can be a supplement to it, I suppose, in terms of you submitting a document and notifying them electronically that it was submitted, but you will still need to go through and make sure that your parties are served through service of process like you would in any other case via traditional means. But if you do want to add service contacts here so that you can notify them electronically, you're just going to click this Add a Service Contact link. And you're going to be presented with a dialog that gives you the opportunity to add service contact in one of three ways. The first way is to select a contact from your firm. So far, I'm the only service contact in my firm, so this just lists me here. So I'll go ahead and select myself and attach myself to this filing. The second way, if I click Add a Service Contact again, is by searching the public service contact list. So as people add themselves as service contacts throughout the system, they have the opportunity to identify whether or not they want to be public or not, meaning they would be searchable by other filers. So if it was opposing counsel, for example, on this case that you wanted to make sure received a copy of this, and you didn't have their information, you could search for them on the public service list. So you have the opportunity to search by last name, first name, or a law firm name. So if I just search by first name and click Go, it's going to return a list of all the service contacts with the first name George, and then I'll just select the one that I would like to serve. You can select one or multiple here. I'll just stick with one for now. Click Add and Attach. So you can see now we have two service contacts attached to this filing. The last option is if you select the third radio button here called by adding a new contact, you actually have the opportunity to add a brand new contact on this to the list. So if I just enter last name Jane Doe, and then I type Jane Doe at greenfiling.com as the email address, I can add her as a brand new service contact into the system. This administrative copy field is actually where you can enter an alternate email address if you know if you're not sure this one's valid, so that they would get emails at both. And then again, you have the option to make this person a public contact or not. We would recommend if you're adding any other service contact who is not in your firm, for example, that you not make them public or searchable. So if you're adding a client, a party, opposing counsel, something like that, probably a good idea not to make them a public contact. But if you're adding somebody else in your firm, then making them a public contact is probably a reasonable thing to do. So we'll just leave this as no for now, and we'll click Add and Attach Contact. So now we have 3 service contacts attached to this case. That means when I submit this filing, they're going to get an email notification that this filing just occurred, and they'll have access to the documents that you filed via a link in that email. They will also remain attached to this case so that when you file on this case in the future, they will be available for you to select very easily and quickly to serve again on future filings. With that, we'll move on to the 9th step, which goes over the filing fees on this filing. The fees here are very clearly listed out. We have a fee for the complaint. It's case initiation fee of $435. Along with the complaint, we asked for that advanced jury fee as an optional service, so we see that added here as $150. No fee for the case cover sheet. And then under service fees, we have 2 fees here we want to be very clear about. When you're e-filing in California, you are e-filing into courts that are participating in the Odyssey eFile California system, and those courts do charge a per transaction fee to e-file in those courts. For permissive courts, that's going to be $5 per filing transaction, and for mandatory courts, it's going to be $3.50 per filing transaction. So that's what the fee here you're seeing is the Odyssey eFile California EFM fee, or e-filing manager fee. Then there's also a court convenience fee. This is a fee that is assessed by the court for allowing you to pay your filing fees by credit card. There are credit card processing fees, so this is the court's way to offset those credit card processing fees by charging this court convenience fee. This will be a percentage of the total filing fee, usually around 3.5%. So now what we're going to do, now that we know what the fees are to file this case, we're going to go ahead and select the payment account that we had created early to use to pay those fees. So I'm going to select my MasterCard here, and then I can click on also confirm fee calculation, which will force our system to double check these fees with the court system and make sure they are correct. So you can see here we have an estimated column of 610.65 and now our confirmed column of 610.65 as well. The last step will be to choose the filing attorney. You may remember I've logged in as a support staff person, non-attorney, and I'm authorized to file for this attorney, George Benson. So I'm going to go ahead and select them as the attorney I'm filing this case for. The created by just indicates my name as the person who's created this filing. Clerk memo field is a field where you can type any note you would like to the court clerk. Only the court clerk will see this field as they review your filing. They will see this field and they can take into account anything you have to say here. So I'll just type any note to clerk as an example here. Client matter number. This is a field where you can enter your own internal case numbers or file numbers. This will then display on any reports that are generated out of green filing, and then you can use those reports to reconcile filing fees against your credit card, bill back filing fees to that client where you've entered their number. This just displays and saves within Green's filing system. It's not something that's submitted to the court. And the proposed case name is actually another field that's not used in California, so you can just go ahead and move past that as well. It's likely a field you'll see disappear from our system in the near future. And finally, we have the checkbox here to indicate you verify all the information above is true and correct. You understand what filing plan you're on with green filing and what green filing service fees are. So once you've confirmed everything is good, you're just going to click Sign and File. At this point, we're packaging up all that filing data, your documents, and we're delivering those to the court system. Court system is going to respond with a envelope number confirming that they've received the filing. And then we're going to redirect you to our filing status screen, where we will list your filing, show it to you, and display it or highlight it here in red or pinkish color. You're going to have the status of pending, meaning it's pending the clerk review. And it will have an envelope number here indicating that the court has received it and they've assigned this envelope number. This is a good number to use if you ever have to contact the court to find out about the status of a filing. And just to finalize what you're seeing here on this filing status screen, we have a filing ID. This is Green Filing's internal filing ID, unique ID assigned to this filing. The envelope icon here means that you did attach service contacts to this filing, so the system will be generating emails to those service contacts. It's just the date, time submitted. Under the case column here, we display it as new. As soon as this filing is accepted and is assigned a case number, you'll see this will update and display a case number. And then finally, we just list the lead document submitted in your filing here to help you identify your filing when you see it listed amongst many other filings that you'll be doing in the system. Okay, so now that our filing is submitted, I'd like to go over some of the email notifications you'll receive once your filing's submitted to the court. Before doing that though, let me quickly navigate back to the dashboard. And I just want to point out now on the dashboard, you see that we have one pending filing. So we have that filing we just submitted, pending clerk review. And then over here by our filing status tab on the left-hand side, we see a number 1 for one pending filing as well. So now I've jumped over into my email account and I want to review those email notifications that are generated as the result of this filing. As you can see, I have some new emails here. The first email I have is this submitted filing notification for case number 16718. And what the 16718, that's actually the envelope number. That's not the case number on the filing. If I open this up, you're going to notice I've actually got two emails. The Odyssey eFile California system will generate an email per document. So we have two emails here, one for the complaint and one for the civil case cover sheet. And both of those emails have been submitted, and this is just an indication by the court that they have received those documents. The next email you will get is actually this notification of service email, and it will indicate the envelope number or the case number as well. This would be the email you got if you added yourself as a service contact. It's also the email that those service contacts you added to the case will get. So if you add service contacts, they're going to get a copy of this email. In this email, if you open it up, you're going to get just an indication that this filing was submitted on this case number or envelope number. And then in that email, it's going to tell you what the documents were, and you actually get a link to view the document. So if it is a service contact that you had added to the case, this is their ability to actually open up the document that you just filed. So that's the second email that goes out. And finally, the third email that goes out will be either an accepted or rejected email. In this lesson, we'll just talk about the accepted email. You'll see here I have an accepted filing notification for case number. And now instead of the envelope number, we have the case number and the case name. If we open that up, we'll see information about the filing having been accepted and also another view document link. And again, if you click that view document link, it'll open that filing. And I should point out, and I'm doing this in the test system, so there's no file stamp on these documents. The court's test system isn't putting file stamps on the documents. But if you were to receive this accepted email on a filing in the live system, when you view the document, you would have a file stamp on the document. And then finally, you're going to receive an email from Green Filing. In that email, it looks like this, just as the Green Filing ID and indicates it's accepted. And you're going to notice a couple differences with this email. The first difference is in the Odyssey eFile California emails you receive, you're getting an email per document, both for the submitted and accepted notices. With Green Filing's email, we're just going to send you a single email. It'll list all the documents and indicate whether the filing was accepted or rejected. The other thing we do is we provide a quick link in our email so that you can click that and go directly back into Green Filing and view your documents or your filings. And you can see now by clicking that, the status of this filing is accepted. And if I refresh it to get the latest information in from the court using this refresh link, I now have the opportunity to click these links here to view the file stamped copy. The other thing is, if I scroll down in this document, I see in my Add Attached Service Contacts section, for next to each person I indicated, each document is listed, and then it has an indication of whether it was sent or opened. So I can see all these documents were sent to everybody, and then in this case, this one person actually opened this document in this date and time. So it's a nice way to get more information about your filing and to also see which service contacts have opened the documents that you submitted. You'll also get a link in your email that will open up the case in Green Filing. So if I click this link, it's going to open up Green Filing, and we're going to go ahead and load that case on the screen. So this is what we call our case summary view. We'll talk more about this in other lessons in this video series, but we have some basic case information, party information, those service contacts that are attached to the case, and also we show you a list of those filings submitted through Green Filing on the case thus far. And then finally, in the accepted email from Green Filing, we actually attach the documents to the email. So you don't have to go back into the system to download them. They're right here attached to your email, so you can just save them directly from here. Now, the one thing I want to point out while we're talking about emails is that is actually quite a few emails to get when you've simply submitted one case filing. So I want to point out, if you go into Green Filing and you go to Settings and you go to User Preferences, you have the option to turn off the emails related to the Odyssey eFile California ones. So if you wanted to turn off your accepted, rejected, and submitted emails, that would prevent the Odyssey eFile California from sending those emails. And then under the user settings for Green Filing, turn on the Receive Filing Status Summary emails and the Include File Stamp Documents Attached. Basically, by doing this, you won't get all those different emails from eFile California system. You'll just get one email from Green Filing giving you the status of your filing and the links back into Green Filing system, as well as the documents attached to the email, just like you see here. And finally, to conclude this lesson, I would just like to jump back over to the Green Filing application and go back to the dashboard. So we're going to click on e-filing and dashboard. And what I wanted to show you here is a couple things. Before, we had the one pending filing here, and you also saw that next to filing status, but that's now gone because the filing has been accepted. We also show that we have two unread notifications. What that means is we received, because we added ourselves as a service contact on this filing, two electronic notifications that new filings occurred. So you see the system update with that information. You can see these unread notifications here. If a filer, if a different filer had marked you as a service contact, those notifications would show up here in Green Filing as well, and you would get an email. So just wanted to point that out. We're getting these notifications about this filing that we submitted because we made ourselves a service contact on this case. But that would also be true if a different person had submitted the filing and they selected you as a service contact on the case. So you would see those notifications show up here. Finally, I just want to point out on the left-hand side, we have our Filing Status tab. If you click on that Filing Status tab, it'll take you to our status screen, which I currently have filtered to show me pending filings. But if I select this, Filter Filings, and Show All, what you're going to see is all my filings listed here and their status. And you can see with the filing, the new complaint I just submitted, not only do we have an accepted status, but we have a link now, or we have a case number assigned, which displays here, which is also a link to view the case. So that concludes lesson 2. Basically goes through all the steps to file a new case and what to expect in terms of notifications about the status of the filing and any electronic notifications that go out with the service contacts.